The Adventures of Sinbad. A long time ago, a young merchant named Sinbad lived in the big city of Baghdad. He used to travel on the high seas, reaching distant lands, buying and selling all sorts of goods. But on one of his voyages, the ship takes him to a very strange island. Sinbad explored the island and found grass and flowers on it, as well as a few trees. Later, starving, Sinbad gathered some dry goods and lit a fire, intending to prepare his food. Suddenly, the island shook. Passamite, it was by no means an island. The young merchant had lit the fire on the back of a sleeping whale, which had been floating on the sea like this for years. And the fire had only woken her. Overwhelmed, the whale shook and threw Sinbad into the sea. Then, after breaking his ship, he sank into the turbulent waters. For several days in a row, Sinbad floated on the sea, clinging to a log. Eventually, the waves and the wind carried him to another island, this time a real one, where he came across a huge bird's egg. But just then the bird came down from the air to settle on that egg. To escape the island, Sinbad untied his turban and tied himself tightly to one of the bird's legs. So, as soon as she took flight, she carried the young man with her. After a while, the bird sank into a valley where, everywhere, lay a myriad of precious stones. Sinbad detached himself from the bird's leg in time, just as it was preparing to take flight again. The young merchant had collected a lot of precious stones, and came out of that valley. He set out and, after several weeks, reached a country called Serendib. Sinbad went to the king of the country, and gave some of the most precious stones to him, picked from the valley where the huge bird had taken him. As a thank you, the king offered him a gold box, and a very precious ruby vessel, which the young man would give as a gift to the great Sultan of Baghdad. At the same time, Sinbad received another honorable ship, with which to return to his family, and several bags of gold. The Sultan was still very glad to see the gifts, and, as a thank you, stopped the young merchant in the court, and made him great ruler. Thus, even though Sinbad's life had hitherto been full of adventures and dangers, he could now lead a quiet life, being almost as rich as a king.